Hello and welcome. In this video I'm going to be making a wooden fire surround, and I'm going to make this out of old floor joists and a bit of scaffold. I've got all the materials here. I've got the joists and I've got some scaffolds. So the first thing I'm going to do is measure up and see what sort of dimensions I want around here, and then we will get cutting some wood. Alright, so back in the workshop, and this is the wood that we're going to be using. That's quite chunky wood, I've got to say. But it does have a discrepancy on the measurements. It says one of them 7.5 inches wide and the others are 6.5 inches wide. They all look the same to me, so I'm going to measure them. And then what we can do is, let me show you. I've got a rough plan here of what I'm going to be building, rough dimensions. But we'll have to choose which piece of wood each element comes from to make the best use of the wood. So I'm going to measure all of these up first, see exactly what we've got, alter my dimensions if I need to, and then we'll start cutting. Okay, so having inspected this wood and referenced to the plans, I'm saying this piece here is best for the uprights either side. This piece here will be best for the mantle, and I'll be able to make the hearth surround from this piece here. So I'm going to check my measurements once more before I start cutting this, because I only have these three pieces and it looks like it's going to be fairly tight. So check the measurements, cut the wood. So over at the chop saw, this is correct. This first one is going to be 1 meter or 2, and that should fit in there fine. I do hope the chop saw has enough depth on the blade. It probably will have, but it's never managed anything like this before, so let's see what happens. Okay, now that is a substantial piece of wood, so I'm going to clamp it down. Certainly don't want it jumping around. That's good. It's almost supported there, so here we go, first cut. Right, there's our first one. Look at that. That's beautiful slow-grown wood, you know. As I say, that's got to have been under a floor somewhere for at least 100 years, I would say. Now, we want the other one the same. So, I'll put him on the saw, and I will duplicate the cut with this as a template. Okay, second cut. Next thing, I think I will cut the mantle to length, and I'll probably reduce that down a bit. I think the 6.5 inch, or well, I forget what it was in millimeters, I think it'll be a little bit too wide, so I might have to take that down on the table saw, but we'll get it all cut to length first. Okay, so there we have the mantle at 1532. Stick that one over there. And now I just want to cut the pieces for the hearth. Again, I'm going to remeasure that, just make sure I'm doing the right thing, and then on to the next stage. Majorly, we've got all that cut. I've cut the pieces for the hearth just over slightly, because I'm going to miter these joints, and I just want to give myself a little bit of margin for error. Okay, this is the scaffold sort of insert for this piece here, and this tells me that this wants to be 190 centimeters in width. So I'll make a few marks on that, and then I think we're going to have to set the table saw up. Bandsaw might get this, but I do want to cut some of the depth of the hearth as well. So I'll mark this up, set the table saw up, and see if it's still working. Right, so we've got the table saw set up, and it performed pretty well with the scaffold. I've cut that down to size, but now these pieces are for the hearth, and I don't want the hearth to be that high. So I'm going to cut a slice off this and the other two pieces for that, and then we'll get on with the mantle, and then I believe our cutting is done. Righty, Right, so this piece is for the mantle, and I've decided to make that 130 130mm wide. That will be fine. That will be sitting on that as one of the uprights. Obviously that's upside down, but I think we'll have just enough overhang there. Don't want too much, don't want to flatten about. And this is a solid chunky piece of wood. I do hope this all makes it. Sure it will. Okay, so I've sanded these. These are the pieces which are going to be the hearth. And that's actually not so bad. As I say, I don't want this taken back to being pristine wood. In that case, I might as well have bought new wood. But I do like these. This has still got bits of plaster and stuff in it, and that'll be a nice colour when it's lacquered. That'll darken down a little bit. So it's taking it from that to that. That's with a 40 grit paper on this orbital sander. What I think I will try though is I'm not quite so sure about these sharp edges. So on this scrap piece, I'm going to try taking those down with a rasp, and I'll try that. I'll fix this to the bench and rasp these corners off and just see how that looks. I think it'll soften the whole thing up a bit. Right, as I say, just an experiment. I have this rasp here, which is another one of these ancient tools I was fortunate enough to inherit. And this has done some rasping. I used to make longbows with hardwoods, you know, and I used to use this to sculpt the shape of the handles with. It's still razor sharp, it's really good. And I have this one, which is a bit more severe, and I'm not sure where this came from. It has a plastic handle, so it wasn't the same heritage as that. But anyhow, let's have a go and see what happens. Yes, I think given the choice here, I sort of prefer this. Just as I say, a slight round. So I'll take that off all of these pieces for the hearth. Okay, so a whole load of sanding later, and I'm just going to lay it out on the floor here to get an idea of what this is going to look like. I like to get an idea of the dimensions, make sure it looks balanced and in proportion. And I would say that does. I like that. I've been considering how do I fix this to the wall. And what I've got is some of these little mirror brackets sort of thing. And we'll put them along the top there, put one down the bottom, and then the mantle will cover all of that up. So that's the way we're going to go. But first of all, we need to lacquer this. Okay, so the first part we're going to tackle with the lacquer is the hearth. I've just mitered them and screwed them together on the sides. So we want just a quick coat of this lacquer, and this will essentially raise the grain, and then we'll sand this back down and do it again. Okay, so I've given the fireplace and the hearth 2 coats of lacquer at this point, and that seems to be sufficient. What I'm going to do just before fitting the hearth, I just want to get any little scraps off the place where it's going to sit, so that it'll sit nice and flat. And I've also obviously masked this fire up because we're going to have to drill some holes in the walls to put these uprights on. Right, and we shall just give this a good sweeping. So with all of that cleaned up, we can now attempt to fit the hearth. Okay, nice tight fit. Good, I like that. Now to secure this, what I'm going to do is just put some screws through here into the floor. Alrighty, so right on this edge here, what I'm going to do is just put a hole in there on a skew, and then I'll be able to fill that up. I'll put a piece of dowel in there or something later and cover it back up. But we want that there. And now we shall screw that right into the floor. That is good. Right, same procedure. I'll do another one up the back there, do the other side, and then we'll get on with fitting the uprights. Alrighty, so to put these uprights in, I'm just going to put that in place. Nice and tight against the tiles. Make sure that we are level, which we are. And now I'm just going to put a little pilot hole where these mirror tabs are. Now I'm going to put these in with these rather large 60mm screws, and looking at that I'm probably going to need an extension for the drill. I'll just get over the wood a little bit easier. Right, so we shall put this in place. A screw. That's good. Right, same on the bottom one, then we move right along. Alrighty, so we have both of the uprights on, we have this cross member on. Next thing to do is put the mantle on, but I'm going to drill out some holes in the back of the mantle so I can push it flush with the wall so it's not pushed forward by these. So I'll mark those first. Right, so I've marked on the back of the mantle where the lugs sit. And I think this will work. This is a 25mm spade bit. And if I just take, I don't know, maybe 5mm out of that. Okay, so with the holes cut out, so this is what I was trying to achieve, just so the mantle is right up against the wall there, like that. And that is sitting there just perfectly. Okay, so I've made a few little pilot holes where I want these screws, and I'm just going to drill into that, where those pilot holes are. And again, these will just fill up with dowels. I'll whip them off, give it another coat of lacquer once it's in place. Okay, and essentially, I'm just going to drill straight down there. Sorry, screw that straight through into the upright. A couple more across the middle section, and we're nearly there. Okay, and there it is. I really like that. A couple of things yet to do. I mean, it is finished, but I'll just fill those dowel holes up on the top, a couple on the front to fill, and that's it. Maybe give it another coat of lacquer once the dowels are in and dried. But I think that's very nice. As I say, this is from old floor joists. They've still got all of the old saw marks and things like this in the nail holes, but it's very smooth to the touch. With all of that lacquer and sanding, very smooth to the touch. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, do give it a thumbs up. A friend of mine's just planing some wood in the workshop there. It's quite loud, but I've got this material left. So I'm going to make a huge dining room table or desk out of this. Some of it will make the top, and we should be able to get the legs out of that as well. And then we're nearly there with this room, you know. Got a little bit of shelving to put up here, some scaffboard shelving. I'll probably make a little coffee table if I have any offcuts. And that should be about it. So there's the chandeliers from last time. That one's in. And that one's in. Fireplace is in. All come together. I thank you very much for watching.